How's it going, Twitch? My name is Skull, and on behalf of East Asia Soft, welcome to today's stream. Today, I am continuing my playthrough of The Letter, out now physically for Nintendo Switch. So if you want a physical copy of this game, head over to PlayAsia and place your order, and the game is shipping out right now, so you should expect to get it on your doorstep by the end of the month, I think. So yeah, really excited to continue my playthrough of this. Sundays are my days to play games, and I get to pick whichever game I want, and I have picked to play The Letter at least to one complete ending. So that is what I am doing today. Not all the way to the end, mind you, but or at least I don't think so. But this has been a really fun game. It's been really interesting to get to know all the characters. It is a visual novel, but it's a whole lot of fun, and it's really well made, and I have nothing but high praise for it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and, hold on, move my webcam up here, and hit the continue button. We were just looking at Marianne about to make a decision. Do I leave or do I stay? Boy, how do I even explain what's going on right here? I don't. If you want to know what's going on, we archive all of our streams over on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/EastAsiaSoft. So you might want to head over there and get caught up, or just play the game for yourself. We're being raided. Hey, Raine TV, thank you for the raid, and hello to all raiders. Yeah, we're about to make a decision here, and I'll let the raiders make the decision. So, do we move on from the dead girl, or do we stay with our childhood lover? Chat, decide for me. Thank you so much for the raid, Raine. I appreciate that. So, yeah, she's dead. She's dead. I don't know what we're seeing, but it's not a real girl. So we need to decide, do we move on from her, or do we stay with her and atone for our sins? I shall let the chat decide. Meanwhile, let me go ahead and say hello to you guys. Hello, Portudeso. Hi, Tangerina. Marignan. Zose Mora, Osiris. Definitely should move on. Guys always send us games. Oh, well, that's awesome, Raine. Yes, thank you. Greetings from Brazil. Yes, hello. I don't know any Portuguese, but hello. Well, we have one vote for we should move on. Do we have anyone else? Anyone else want to say move on or stay? What do you guys decide? We have one vote for move on. I do not know how to make a poll in the chat. Okay, you know what? Raine says move on. The Raider says to move on. So, closure. That's all I came here for. Whatever this is, it might as well all be just a devil's trick. And I might as well make some use of it, right? I say nothing at first, for fear of angering whatever phantom this is. I take Lorraine's hand and bring it up to my lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. She takes it as some sort of invitation to pull me along, to step back into the mirror until only her arm is extended again.
I should have been more honest back then, both to you and myself.
What is this game about? Oh man, how do I explain it? The house is haunted. That sums it up pretty well, actually. Hello in Portuguese is hola. Hola!
I know it's too late. I'm sorry. But
the thought of being with the dead did not agree with me. Not one bit.
I can't stay with you.
Achievement unlocked. Goodbye, my first love.
So what? You're going to leave me for some old trophy wife? That's it, isn't it? You're going to leave poor Amy Lorraine and go after the next rich, pretty blonde that you see.
This is a mistake.
All these years, guilt has been my driving force. I felt so guilty for what I did. What I didn't do.
Yeah, this girl that we're talking to, I'm going to try and summarize. The girl we're talking to has been dead for decades, and now Marianne, this character that we're controlling right now, is seeing her and is reminiscing about she feels responsible for this girl's death, and she was given the opportunity to either try and make things right or try and move past it, and we decided to try and move past it. And now, dead girl is guilt tripping us. She thinks she can guilt me into being complacent, but she realizes otherwise as I pull my hand from her. And going by the look of anger on her face, an anger that runs cold, she did not like the fact that I'm not some puppet on a string. Had she chosen her words carefully, I would have accepted whatever punishment Lorraine chooses to give me. Guilt had ran my life, and it might have very well ended it. Because I deserved it.
But what I did to me. The blood in my hands is mine, not yours.
Whoever or whatever this shadow is, my gut tells me she's not Lorraine. Yet I keep talking as if she is.
I broke your heart, not your neck.
Don't you dare deny it! It was your fault!
Because I loved you more than I dare to admit? Yes, that was my fault. But I never meant to hurt you like that.
Despite my words, no matter how sincere they are, she appears angry. Enraged, in fact. It's been years since I last saw that face, and even now, the memory of it is still etched deeply in my mind. The hurt, the tears, and the hate spilling from her eyes that day, the moment I rejected her. Rejected myself for who I am. And she definitely will hate what I am about to do next. To my left, a wine rack. And from there, I take a bottle and pray to all saints that I can remember. For all my sins. For every hurtful word I've uttered. For what I've driven her to do that day. What I forced her into.
What are you doing?
I do it without thinking twice. Quickly, before I can hesitate, I grab a bottle and send it straight towards the mirror. Shards of the bottle and the mirror are sent flying everywhere as Lorraine's screams echo in the cellar. Bitter. Searing. Like every wounding accusation she hurled at me. They've never left me. I doubt they ever will. But with this, I can move away from them. From her. Live my life as I should. Free from the burden. Her burden. Because the Lorraine I know, the real one, the person I loved, will never want me carrying this to my death. As the screaming dies down, I can't help but mutter weakly.
It's done. It's done.
Achievement unlocked. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Oh, Lorraine. Forgive me, Lorraine.
I take some time to compose myself, breathing in and out, stamping down on the trimmer, still racking my hands, straightening out my jacket, and fixing my hair. All a weak attempt at returning myself to someone resembling my normal self. Seems like moving on wasn't the best choice. Oh, there's no good choice in this game, trust me. This would probably be easier to do so with a mirror, but I likely won't be able to stand looking at one for a long time.
Well now, I should probably go back up there. Party to attend, rich socialites to do business with, and food to eat. Mrs. Wright will be happy if I make some time for it anyway.
Yet, one last time, to the shuttered glass beneath my feet.
I'm sorry, Lorraine. May you see God's light on the path.
Turning around to leave, and for good this time, the uneasy smile on my face falls as I see Lorraine whole and well.
Come on, Mac. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? You get bonus points for trying. But you should know innate charisma is not enough to turn undead.
She advances towards me, backs me against the wall. I can't even reach for another wine bottle without putting myself within her reach. Despite my earlier bravado, I didn't know she'll be able to exist at all without the mirror. Can you blame me, though? It's not like I'm an expert on the supernatural.
That's not... You shouldn't be...
What? After the mirror? Did you think just moving on will erase what you did to me? You're nothing but a murderer, Marianne. A murderer!
Stay back. You're not real. Leave me alone. Stop. I'm trying to move on with my life, so why won't you let me? Please, just get out of my head and leave me be.
I try to find an exit when there's a click. The next thing I know, I'm falling back into darkness. Oh, hello, yeah? This is new. Oh, okay. Oh, you guys have no idea. I think this explains something. This is a complete new location. It was, I guess she found a secret door in the wine cellar leading to, it looks like a dungeon. Oh my. This actually explains something. Wow, this is a big deal. Ooh. Ah. Applause in the chat? Okay. I fall on my back, and a door slams shut behind me. In my daze, I look around warily and find myself in another room entirely. On the other side of the wall, some sort of secret passage perhaps, an underground tunnel that has me wary and frightened. It also proves that the oddities in the mansion's floor plans are a lot more than just little discrepancies. I expect Lorraine to jump out at me from the darkness at any time. A breeze blowing through the tunnel has me relieved, though, at the idea that there is still a way to escape should that happen. That is way better than being trapped underground with... only God knows what that was. A funny thought comes to mind as I start walking to where the exit might be. I think about how Mrs. Wright would be so disappointed if I didn't show up to the party. I imagine how furious Mr. Wright would be for breaking one of his wine bottles. Even Johan's reaction comes to mind, though I don't really know with that guy. One thing's for sure, is that I'll be calling Cam and Haruna for a drink as soon as I get out of here. Oh, you thought you were in the clear! You got another thing coming. That noise has me wary. A ghastly thing, a corpse of a woman, leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body, is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. Also, she's going to just keep doing this for a while. I know how this goes. And it is then that the putrid smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so that I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here? Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
I flinch as the thing twitches. And as soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. I break into a run. I try to keep on running no matter how much my legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going even when I look back and see nothing of her anymore because I could still hear her. The scampering of her feet, the words she tries to form with her bloody mouth, and the painful sounds of bones grinding against each other as she moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
There's a split second where I know that thing is right behind me. A strange sensation creeping over my limbs when her presence looms over me. And then, suddenly, I can't even do anything before I'm yanked by the hair and pulled back. Still, I struggle up until I'm thrown to the side like some rag doll. I hit the ground on my side, and the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is my only indication that I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me.
My body hurts, and I keep my eyes shut tight, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
There's only dread seeing how she's followed me even here. She looms over me, backs me further into the cell I was thrown in.
Please. It's so cold. I don't want to be alone, Marianne. Why won't you stay with me? Why would you leave me? Why?
What are you?
Lorraine turns and shifts into that thing from before. And with the same gruesome grin, it takes a step forward towards the cell. Towards me. I barely scramble to my knees when the door to the cell slams shut and it just stands there, staring. Shouts for help ring out in the tunnels, but none of them are coming for me. I'm more paralyzed and shocked by what is happening. My throat tightens at being fooled by the image of Lorraine at the thought of being trapped down here. So then, where?
Help me, oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl? Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here. Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though. It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea.
This is interesting.
Oh man, that's genius.
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That's more his kid would panic.
Achievement unlocked, prank gone wrong.
What? Spit it out. Behind you!
There, in the corner of the cell, a digital camera comes flickering to life and a video has played back on the screen. It was hard to even consider paying any attention to it when my life is on the line. But when the ghost doesn't move and the teenagers' mocking shouts of "help me" filled the cell, I just had to watch. And what I had seen, students, judging by their St. Giretti uniforms, they were holding
That letter.
roll credits, and that thing, the woman, she... That is a no. Ugh. Good luck sleeping tonight, everybody. So, this is what happens, okay? This is the fourth character that I've taken control of. Rebecca is now the fifth. Basically, you play through about a week from different characters' perspectives. The first person we played through is the one who found that letter that said, "Help me, help me, help me," over and over and over and over. The second character is the owner of this house. Well, she's the new owner, okay? It's a haunted house. She doesn't know it's haunted. The third character is a photojournalist, and the fourth character was Marianne, this person that we just finished controlling. She's the interior designer. Every single one of them see this cursed girl, whoever she is, over and over, and every single one of their paths end with a pounce from the undead girl onto them. And then you start the week over looking at someone else's perspective. So now we're looking at Rebecca, who I've been looking forward to playing for quite some time. So it's about maybe 2 hours. Sorry, it's like 5 hours maybe per character that you play, 4 to 5 hours, depending on how long you play. And you get different characters, and the more characters you play, the more things start to make sense. Like right there, we found this hidden tunnel that I didn't know existed, and then we saw that video of the guys doing the prank making the letter, the Epitomus letter. So whatever happens this time with Rebecca, we're going to learn something else new, and I am looking forward to it. This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we are off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might even come sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fiery hue. They are all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are. Merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind while waiting for another busy workday to end. Then again, maybe in another life I am one, who knows? But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be, well...
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
Admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I had imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, isn't it? As if in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers, the final bell rings. Like a dam that's open, students begin piling out into the hallways soon after. For a short minute, I let the noise fill my ears, let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. Even my own house hasn't been as quiet as usually I prefer. Though in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either since Isabella moved in next door. And if her fussing over a minor cold last week tells anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude out the nearest balcony as long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. A chuckle escapes from me as I reach for it. Is that cough syrup?
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Mother hen, she calls me, and then says and does the same thing right after. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. If I am to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike 1 minute, then act like a responsible adult the next. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer, one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all. That big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she's always been. I do understand that part loud and clear. It's just that I really rather not pass another burden onto her.
Or become one myself.
Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually grow away from once you've got all started leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow, that thought makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms on my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button. Even the voice that responds, once I do accept the call, is wholly unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects. Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales?
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper, Briar Realty Corporation.
Briar Realty?
My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease the tension that has suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize. I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before. but we're working together on a property at the moment, and
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that
I
earlier.
continue to forget that the name of the mansion, the name of the haunted house is Ermengarde. And of course I just got Ermengarde stuck in my head, so the Ermengarde Mansion, yes.
Is there a problem?
this is about Isabella, actually.
She wastes no time relaying everything. The details she provided are, admittedly, a bit vague, but enough for me to get the gist of what happened. It wasn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though still worrying. Especially with words panic attack and pale looking a bit sickly woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down on the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she is so going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest. Anthem's a fair distance from Luxbourne. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends. I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you'll expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxbourne's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place almost an hour's drive away from the comforts of a city? But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about this sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. It can be difficult when they want to be. Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same could be said for the news she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension has lashed itself firmly to my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every single ounce of it, grimmer than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with the sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Even on a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day, I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march. Oh, my steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edward Hall's exit. The sooner I confirm Isabella's okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For one reason or another, that single call of all possible things has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Though perhaps it's really the other way around. Aww, it's this girl. She's so adorable. So, excuse me. When I look down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vice, and at my attention, a grin spreads over her face. Buenos tardes, Miss Pink.
Hello, Kylie. You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
Sorry, Miss Pink. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. Now that's a little interesting because when we saw her in a previous scene, 2 scenarios ago, she was fully voice acted. In fact, every single character's been fully voice acted, so I don't know what happened here. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, all right? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
See?
I'm sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go. I think he's taking too long. But he promised to buy me jelly babies today if I keep what he's doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it?
She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out.
I made a promise.
Is her brother one of those idiots who dropped the letter at the mansion? I'm willing to bet her brother's one of those idiots who dropped the letter at the mansion. Wow. Kylie, okay. Find your brother, punch the crap out of him, and then say you're sorry, and then it'll be excused because you're young enough, you don't know any better, and you can get away with stuff. That's my vote. Do that.
He said it's for Tia Luke.
Oh, something like a gift?
Like a deal. Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
That's exactly what he's doing. Idiot brother. Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? At any rate, there's nothing but well-behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Rowan, the oldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, all right?
It's not. Cross my heart. My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so. Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Is that why you're here?
Not really. I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look, but as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. And frankly, another child to look after. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you. It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
What about her mama and papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part? That's where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question. Just like that, I know I've earned this girl's forgiveness.
Oh, just like Takako.
Who?
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore. Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too! Don't you think so, Miss Pink?
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore. Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly. To be honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years, and one will think it's enough time to know a person. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter or even when things are tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, all right?
No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so. A small one is okay.
There you go.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
She is so adorable.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is falling down.
She doesn't look back
falling
or
down,
wait for any
falling
sort of
down.
goodbye from me.
London Bridge is
With a
falling
song and an
down,
extra spring in
my
her steps, she
fair
bounds
lady.
across the corridor with as much spirit only a child her age can have. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old familiar rhyme lingering in the air. Carefree. Unbidden. Untroubled moments like this, I envy her. And as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper at the back of my mind wishes the same can be said of myself and my own worries. Luxborn may be a small city, but it's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. But surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there or she's ignoring them on purpose. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxborn, the estate and the nearby Anslem village stand as its complete opposite. Living and breathing the songs of the old, whispers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary convenience aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't wholly touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself. If I could only knock some sense into these people.
Yeah, a haunted mansion? Yeah, no, yeah, no. Oh boy, you're in for a treat. Still, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up the main entrance. Most of the guests are already heading out. Though some still linger, it's mainly just to take photos of the house's facade or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered in the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
No sign of the other staff or Miss Cooper either. I could certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost, or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number. The gesture, familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the country has never been popular with the tech savvy after all. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries. At the 4th one, right as I was about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my tastes. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and an eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion, floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, those old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to them. I don't get to stray far into that ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end.
Hello? Isabella? Miss Cooper called earlier and... Isabella? Belle? Are you alright?
Without any warning, the call gets cut off. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. But above the noise cutting through the mute air remains the faint cries of a woman. From beyond the foyer. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one hearing, right? There must still be some staff hanging around, checking things out. But no one does. Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there? Isabella? Isabella? Is that you?
No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from, each step slow and cautious towards a door on the other end of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear or stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I have earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race, and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then, with caution, I reach for the knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door, as if any second now the cries will start again, or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on those. The woman's worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of my unease. Even if the concerned look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
Do you need to sit down?
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
I wave the mobile in front of her like the gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
No worries. She's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty. Miss Cooper called me earlier. In fact, I'm also looking for her.
Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. Girl never listen.
Rose? Rosie? May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile still, friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
It's an impressive thing, to say the least. That level of professionalism. I suppose working years in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. That certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though.
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this. Isabella's supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
Alright, this won't be long, I promise.
She throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. A couple, or siblings, and another woman, probably their secretary. Okay, that woman on the far right is Mary Ann. She's the one that we were just controlling. The woman in the middle with the blonde hair is Miss Wright, is Hannah Wright. We controlled her second, and Mary Ann fourth, and Rebecca is number 5. Isabella, the one that Rebecca's looking for, was the very first one we controlled. She's the one who found the letter. The third person was Zach, who we haven't seen yet today. He's the journalist. He's the photographer. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All three of them primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. Although that one proves more difficult than with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls with only the 5 of us here. Pretty soon, I find myself drawn into their talk, without meaning to.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, ma'am.
The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however.
Very well. We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me. You know how to contact me, yes?
Got your mobile number saved here already.
Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a brief moment. A fleeting shift of my eye.
Monday for us, Marianne.
As long as you're positive, we won't be having any problems by that time. You can count on my team.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this, hmm?
And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup. Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we? In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to the flame. A dark blur. Oh! Okay, I see it now. Had to be pointed out to me, but I see it now. No. A shadow.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
Boy, that voice, that audio clip was rendered out at the wrong setting.
Heather, love, she's busy.
Oh, no, I get it. The voices have been drowned out because she's focused on the shadow.
Such a shame. You never let me do anything fun.
But as I try to make sense of it, a heavy feeling descends over my whole body. It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps to every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sound there is. All except for the whispers and laughters. Judging. Mocking. Taunting. Muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, binds tightening with every syllable, every utterance. And with each draw of breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully, into a bottomless abyss. On and on and on, till the sounds turn into mere distant echoes. Until suddenly it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade, and my eyes snap open. When I look at them again, it's gone.
You can head back to the car first if you want, Luke. I hope that settles everything, Rose. I don't know what Isabel's problem is, but please make sure she doesn't hurt herself. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries as Miss Cooper leads them out the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it. And even as I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their backs, and wait for something to happen, it doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step when she walks back to me. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her into a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things?
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we're going to... hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
Your hair is green.
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold.
I actually really love Miss Cooper's hair. Like, that's a really pretty color green.
Weather's been crazy lately.
That must be it. The weather, the stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabella's right. I was and still am a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although, it's not like I can't function. It did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now I'm not so sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. I simply must have listened too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. If this doesn't let up, I just need another visit to my doctor. Plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel. It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavor in itself. Isabella is no longer there, left shortly before I arrived. Or at least that's what the few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There are only a number of places in Luxburn she frequents, and while she's never been a complex kind, it doesn't really take a genius to figure it out. Still, it's odd she left on her own. Also, that is a Charbucks. I approve. It's not Starbucks, it's Charbucks, non-copywritten. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab's fare twice today.
And right after she was told to stay put. I mean, who does that? Oh, sod off! You don't own the road!
In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me were a string of apologies for my trouble and a request to let her know when I find Isabella. The whole affair didn't even last long. I probably spent more time traveling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back to downtown Luxborn, worried sick, and on top of that, maybe a little annoyed. Whether at the unexpected turn of events or at Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for now. Not when I'm already running late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. As one would expect, people are already gathering at the movie house when I get to it. The small avenue where it's located has been closed off early for any passing traffic to make way for the avid moviegoers who are sure to crowd the venue. I have to park almost a street away and walk the remaining distance because of it. Looking for them has taken a while in a crowd this big, but I eventually spot them near the entrance. Thanks to Zachary, mostly. And like I've surmised, Isabella's with them.
I knew it.
Wasting no time, I march over to their little group. Words filled with concern tumble out of my mouth before I can stop myself.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness! Becca, you're just in time.
An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favor of getting a good look at her, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze at me.
Becca, you're squishing my face.
It's adorable.
How are you? Are you all right? Why wouldn't I be?
There doesn't seem to be any visible injury, nor does she appear to be in pain. Apart from her confused frown at my questions, she looks pretty much like how she would any other day. Even so, you can't really tell those things with her at first glance. The last time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone, even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed with the rest of us none the wiser. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like these also teaches you something about a person. If anything, it's given me more reason to consistently worry about her. And the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless.
Rose called me earlier.
Her expression swiftly changes. As gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hands away. Yet, even before she says anything, I already have a hunch how this whole thing will play out.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She dodges my... I didn't know the game could do that. She dodges my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check the said injury myself. Even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simple inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing, like none of us can be bothered to act like the full-grown adults we're supposed to be. Including Ashton! I won't put it past Isabella, but Ashton, out of everyone. In fact, if that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything, he finds this whole mess amusing. Oh, for the love of...
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this, just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
I'm assuming we'll be controlling Ashton at some point. In fact, my assumption is we'll be controlling him next. Like, it's either going to be Ashton or Luke Wright, and I really hope we don't get to control Luke Wright because that guy is... he has a punchable face. So I'm assuming we'll control Ash next after we're done with Rebecca's story. I assume. There's a moment's pause. My hand's still midair as my attention shifts to Ashton and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. He doesn't meet my eye. I don't think he's even aware of what he said. But the meaning in each syllable alone is clear. And they echo. They sting. They burn.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know.
Of course. Of course! Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put? After that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words. Both what's already been said and what's left unspoken. When I do find my voice, it only reeks with nothing but bitter, unpleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest parts of my mind, locking it away for no one to see.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
Yet, try as I might, the green-eyed monster easily rears its ugly head. Like it always does every time his gaze lingers a second longer. Every time he smiles in a manner far too gentle, far too sincere, whenever he thinks no one can see. Every time my mind suggests his words mean more than they should. Every small, little thing. Despite what he says, despite his tone.
Look, you guys.
For all I know, it may just be the same kind of fondness born from friendship. Maybe I'm simply overthinking like he often tells me, or maybe there really is something there. But in his short display of impatience, I know the whole of it is just for show. After all, growing up together with him didn't teach me nothing about him. For whose sake is it this time, though? For him? For Zachary? For her? Or for me? That I can't tell.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me, if she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what, if I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
My mouth opens, then snaps shut almost as quickly, forming a thin, hard line instead. I can't respond. Not because there's nothing to say. On the contrary, there's plenty. So many things I can use to reason and get him to agree. But because he speaks with much certainty, with much assurance, it feels like there isn't even a choice. All I can give is a long, deep breath and a reluctant nod in the face of it. Before I can get a grip of myself and my own weaknesses, the mood immediately shifts and I'm being tackled into a hug.
Thanks, Becca. It's always been you with him, isn't it? Did you say something? Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
Green-eyed monster indeed. Look at this face that Becca's giving right now. Look at that face. That's so funny. A lie, obviously. What else can it be? Each and every smile, a tiny effort to keep things as they are, or so I tell myself. Little do I know, this is merely a preamble. It starts out quietly and without fanfare, amidst friendly jibes and harmless teasing, with a scrap of paper fluttering harmlessly to the ground. One that looks suspiciously like a cheap Halloween prank, no matter how you look at it. And yet, despite how ludicrous it all is, Isabella stubbornly insists, as if our whole life depends on acknowledging the truth in her story. Does she even realize how absurd she sounds now? Crivens, even my students wouldn't fall for this.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
She doesn't give me time to regret, nor think over my choice of words. From there, it escalates, grows into an argument too petty for even our standards as adults. Before we knew it, one after another, harsh, scathing words are being spoken.
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up. There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
But someone has to be patient in all this. And however much my own has already been frayed earlier, there's no one else. Who else here can deal with someone selfishly acting like a kid? Like every other time, it has to be me.
We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
Just like that, she cuts us off. Slams the door right in our faces with my own temper flares before I can stop it. Although it falters briefly at the hard expression on her when she snatches the blasted paper from Ashton, I hold on to it. Regardless of how upset she appears, soured expression and balled fists, throwing a tantrum is simply unacceptable. For a grown woman at that. Words form at the tip of my tongue, ready. But before I can open my mouth and let all of it out, her feelings and mistakes be damned, Zachary raises a voice of his own.
Guys!
A warning underneath the warm and hopeful beat in his voice. We all stop to look at him, and even my own anger subsides a little at his tone.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her. And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together?
To an outsider, it might sound like a desperate request, but Zachary has always been the one to keep a level head over petty squabbles. This time's no different. He knows what to say, and when he lets it fall, they only ring sharp and true.
We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
And as careful as he is with his own tone, it does make me feel ashamed. We're supposed to be here for him, to give what little support we can give, Yet here he is trying to keep 3 stubborn people from outright hashing it out in public. Later, we can and will talk about it, of course. There's a proper time and place for it, and at the moment, my anger and whatever reprimands it carries no longer matter. Beside me, Ashton appears to have already caught on. The lines of his shoulders ease to something much more relaxed, his expression back to its usual nonchalance. Isabella, however. She stands perfectly still, her hands clasping the straps of her bag like a lifeline, eyes trained at some point near her shoes. There's no anger in her face, only an undeniable hurt. But she's never been good at hiding what she thinks. Always the open book, always the one to wear her heart out in the open. And when she looks up, her answer is also as simple.
I'm sorry. Today's not a good day for a movie night out. I think I'll pass. Enjoy, you guys.
Isabella refuses to meet our eyes, Zachary's in particular. And though she smiles, it's hollow and bellied by her trembling hands and drooping shoulders. I wait for another outburst from her while she drags in a breath, anything easier to deal with than her short, wounded glances. Only it doesn't come. Instead, she stumbles back and merely walks off on us.
Isabella, wait!
Zachary's and Ashton's voices immediately follow mine. However, the swell of the afternoon crowd has already swallowed her retreating back before our words can reach her. Regardless if they do, I don't think she'll listen either. So exasperating. And here I was thinking earlier how admirable she can be when she acts like her age. All because of one stupid piece of prank she can't let go of. Despite the tense, awkward air she leaves, none of us speaks nor chases after her, even with my own frustration over the matter, even with Ashton's seeming indifference. Until Zachary's sharp exhale slices through the stiff atmosphere and he voices out what we're likely too proud to admit given our natures.
Really, guys?
She walked out on us, Zachary. Can you believe her?
Yes, I saw. But that ain't the point here. You could have at least humored her, toned down on the teasing for a bit.
He sends Ashton a pointed look at the last one. For a moment, the latter appears about to say something in his defense, but soon drops the idea altogether. He swiftly averts his gaze with a small frown, his hand going to rub the back of his neck in an awkward gesture of comfort for himself. He knows Zachary's right in more ways than one, and this is the closest we can get to him admitting he's in the wrong. But
You can't just tolerate that. If this is her idea of a joke, I fail to see what's so funny about it. She went overboard, Zachary. And then she goes home all upset, like we're the ones at fault here.
Cut her some slack, please. We're all aware how she felt about the mansion in the first place, yeah?
You don't really believe what's written on that paper, do you?
No, but come on, Ash. You're the detective here. You must have noticed something we didn't.
Hey, Zach, keyword detective. Police? Dealing with supernatural shit isn't in our training manual, if that's what you're trying to get at.
I ain't. All I'm trying to say is, we all have our bad days. Give her the benefit of the doubt, okay?
She was behaving like a child, Zachary.
Ain't we all? Look, let's just hear her out next time, aight? Talk about it properly, preferably without anyone blowing a fuse. She won't be making a big deal out of this if she's in a better mood in the first place. Something else must have ticked her off at work. Just snowballed from there.
Probably not something.
a shadow passes over Ashton's eyes, his eyebrows furrowed in deep thought. But he tucks it all away before Zachary notices where I can ask about it. Catching that look on him, however brief as it is, leaves me unsettled for some reason. So yeah, Ashton's job is a detective, and I wonder if he got a tip about something going on at the mansion, and like he actually does believe that there might be something going on. It's something I'm not used to seeing in him.
Someone, though.
Oh, so you did do something.
What? No! Why does it have to be me?
You tell me. You used to be so friendly with each other. Now, every time you're in the same room, all you two seem to do is ruffle each other's feathers. What exactly happened, Ash?
Nothing.
Alright, and you're a much better cook than Sis.
I didn't do anything, really. You might be right, though. Something must have happened during the open house. There was a crowd, you know? It could have easily been one of their guests. Anyway, we should stop wasting time here. What's done is done. Let's just head inside. The movie's going to start soon.
Ashton doesn't even wait as he shuffles inside, leaving Zachary and I staring after him. A diversion, if I've ever seen one. Frankly, I don't know what to make of that. Moments like this often blur the lines between those he prefers to keep at a distance and those he has to open up to. And sometimes it puts the question of how far he's willing to trust his own friends. Sure, his straight face whenever there's something in his mind is nothing short of impressive. For people he never bothered to let in, it's typical. No one will care, and that's exactly how he prefers it. He never did quite like the kind who meddles. But those who know him well, those he has allowed to get close, are bound to catch on, bound to grow concerned regardless of the things he wants to keep to himself. Especially with that look on his face earlier.
What's with him? I was just pulling his leg.
I'm sure it's just as he says. He would have said something by now if there's anything we should be concerned about. You know how he operates.
All empty reassurances. I don't believe the words myself. In the first place, there shouldn't have been a need to make those excuses for him. But it's obvious there's something that needs to be addressed as soon as I get the chance, and it can't be in the presence of other people, including Zachary.
Oh, all 13 of my locks know exactly how.
Hold on, this is important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I count 18 locks.
Don't hold it against him.
Easy for you to say. He never does that to you guys.
He knows his boundaries. And Belle would have probably hit him with that metal rolling pin she keeps, if he so much as thinks about it.
Actually, I'm almost surprised she hasn't done so yet.
A short pause, then like a switch that has been turned off, Zachary's jovial mood dies down. It doesn't take long for him to find his voice again, though the hesitance the hesitance in it is apparent.
Rebecca, about Bella earlier, could you...
Don't worry about her. Just enjoy your own movie for now. I'll check on her when I get home. Maybe I could even get the real story out of her.
That'd be great. Thanks. Man, I was really hoping to watch this with all of you.
We'll get another chance. It's not like we won't be seeing each other soon. We're living in the same city, for heaven's sake.
Touché. Anyway, you should head in too. Who knows what trouble Ash has gotten in there without us. Somebody should keep him in line.
He's a grown man. He can take care of himself for a few minutes. What about you?
Getting us some snacks. My treat, yeah? We've still got a few minutes to spare before they start. I'll catch up with you both soon.
All right, but don't take too long. Just bottled water for me, if you're planning to get some drinks too.
Right, gotcha.
He gives my shoulder a light tap, then hurries over to the snack bar. Briefly, I allow my gaze to linger past it towards the far end of the street, in the same direction Isabella took off earlier. Searching, hoping, expecting she'll simply be standing amongst the passing crowd, that everything's just a bluff. Perhaps there'll also be an apology ready at the tip of her tongue, and a promise to be more responsible with her actions next time. But much as I will it, there is no sign of her. After that little spat, it'll be foolish to even wait at this point. So with a sigh, I finally step inside. I need to stop there, guys. Sorry. That was day 9 of The Letter, out now for Nintendo Switch. If you want a physical copy, head over to PlayAsia and buy yourself one. It should be on your doorstep by the end of the month. I'll be continuing this playthrough next Sunday, same time, and I will be back on Tuesday to play something else, which I'm looking forward to. So, thank you once again, Renee TV, sorry, for the raid. Thank you to the raiders who came and to everyone who's still here watching. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I hope everyone had a great day. I hope everyone has a great week. On behalf of East Asia Soft, I have been Skull, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.